All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out here so everybody can join in. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So, wow, one more trading day left. Tomorrow is Friday. Friday. All right. So today we're going to wrap up our discussion on gap strategies. And today we're going to be talking about gap fills. So yes, we've had a pretty good discussion this week, so pretty excited about this one. So before we get started though, please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. All right, and then we'll take a look and see where we're at with the market, and then we'll go over the topic, and then we'll take questions and chart requests as we head into Friday. So here we are. So here's the SPX on the monthly chart. So this is where we left off today. So pretty interesting stuff, right? We pulled back today off of the, or we pulled back this month so far off the mid Bollinger Band here on the monthly chart. So, but still a green month, right? We've got some time left. We have about 1 week, one trading week left on the SPX here, in the market this month. So we'll see how that goes going into next week. And so speaking of the weekly chart, inside week this week so far on SPX. So maybe, just maybe, tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, right? Usually Fridays are pretty interesting. We'll see what they do with this. Let's see if they try to push it up, take out this hammer, and maybe go for this gap fill. Right? Or, maybe we just kind of stay and keep an inside week, and then we'll see where they take us next week. Okay? We're still below the 30 weekly moving average. That's your, bull bear line in the sand on the weekly chart. Definitely shows change of composure, right? It's a very important line, right? We've had this inside week that took us down, and now we're slowly approaching it back up off of this bullish engulfing week when RSI was oversold. Daily chart, very, very interesting area right here. Okay? So we are below the upward trend line, right? So we're no longer bullish until proven otherwise because they're trying to prove otherwise right now. So we're basically in the trend box, right? So ultimately we want to see, what's going on here, right? So that the high of this level, this pivot right here, and oh, I thought I had my box up. I thought it could read my mind. And let me just get this right here 1 second. Okay, so we got the top right here, the low right here. Right, so there's your trend box, right? So if we could push above here, right, it'll shift our trend line over, and we should be out of the cloud by then and working our way up to the 200 moving average. If we break down below here, then we may be targeting some lower levels, particularly the gap fill, right? Gap fills. There's a couple gap fills down there, so we've got to keep an eye on those too. Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's take a look at the price action today. So it's pretty good price action today. We gapped up, right? A little sideways action right here. Nice double inside 15 on the SPX. We got Fibonacci's on here. Wow. Let's see, so we got this, so give it mostly like a bull flag type look, a little bit of a triangle type thing with the double insides, right, and then that broke up nicely for a nice trade to the upside today, kind of calmed down a little bit, got the tweezer top right there, worked its way down a little bit, 3 candle bear flag, and then flushed on the Guild news today. So apparently the news that came out was on Guild that their treatment was ineffective, and it was just great because, we looked at the chart today and we had a level right here below this pivot that if it broke down, our alert went off, and I just saw this big red candle on no news at the time. Nothing had really been published yet. And then once that news just hit, about Guild, it was just like, all right, let's get short on this thing. So that was a great one, great move right there off of that. And then, then some sideways kind of prices. They bought the dip on that, right? So if you look right here, we have the Fibonacci. Okay, so if you go here from where we dropped, the high where we dropped, the little tweezer tops right there too, right down to here. Right, nice little rubber band action right there to about the 61.8, and then it worked its way back down again. So that was pretty cool stuff today. And then they brought it down into the close. So now we're seeing the futures down a little bit, which we'll take a look at in a moment. Here's the levels that we provide to our members before each market open, and these help us navigate throughout the day. Right, so we have these on our go-to lists too, but this is a really good tool to use. Right, you can see we were strong here at the open. We got to the next level, a couple upper shadows, hung out here at a couple of these other levels are here. Open gap. There was a prior open gap right there. So we're going to be talking about that today. Right, and then we worked our way back up, tweezer tops, worked our way back down, and then boom, that news came out. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful short move right there. And so, apparently that Guild news was coming out of China, but then Guild came out and kind of defended it, saying like, no, wait, this is not the real research. And then Kramer came out and defended it too. So we got a little bit of a bounce on that, and still is just kind of weak right there. So it's kind of interesting, right, how to interpret that news. Obviously on the intraday time frame, it was significant, but it's like, with states that are working on reopening, right, unlocking, they're coming out of lockdown and unquarantining and stuff like that. It kind of makes it look like things are maybe getting better out there, right? And where things are kind of progressing. So it's like how important is the treatment? I mean, obviously it's important. We want anybody who's sick to get well, and so it's just interesting though how that news, the weight of the corona seems to be kind of wearing off on the market a little bit. I mean, obviously the future, the economic impact of it is going to be big, but in terms of the price action of the market, it seems to be wearing off a little bit. But we'll see, right? We'll see. I mean, after hours, right, let's take a look at the futures here. So after hours, futures are down. Right, we're down about 20 points right now, which is pretty minor compared to everything, right? But so today was a pretty interesting day, right? Futures wise, right? So we had as usual, we had we had horrible job numbers, right? The worst, some of the worst ever cumulative, and again on bad job numbers, the market ripped again. It's like almost like a silly joke type pattern, but it just does it. It just makes no sense. And the market likes to be illogical, right? Because otherwise, if it made sense all the time, everybody would be a millionaire, right? So that's why the geometry of these things are so important, right? And it's just important to follow the price, right? So we broke out of this triangle here this morning and really worked our way up, right? So we got this nice bull flag up, right? The market open. We had a nice move up at the open. That was great with Apple. Pull back right here, worked our way up again, and then we started to break down, right? And so that news came out, right? Brought us right back to this triangle range right here. You see how significant this stuff is? That's why it's important to keep this stuff up and to put these levels up, right? So look where we push down to, right to the center of the triangle. We know that the center of the triangles become areas of support and resistance, right? And so we came down there, we bounced right off of that level. Okay, cool. We came back down, we bounced off that level again, and then when we finally broke below that at the end of the day, now we see ourselves like dropping, down here after hours, right? So we've got a couple levels that we're going to need to deal with tomorrow, right? So I'm going to actually remove this right now. It was something we looked at the open here on the futures tonight. But here's what we got. So we got this going on right here. So that's your macro level that we need to get above, right? Here's an intermediate level we need to get above. Okay? And then of course you got your micro levels right here. This is really, really tight stuff, right? So we're right at it right now. Okay, so pretty neat stuff. And then tonight, right, we looked at the futures here tonight when we opened, right? We had a couple of interesting short opportunities right here. We got some key levels right here. You can see how important this was defended this evening. And then around this time, I think the president came out and said he was looking at not, loosening social distancing guidelines until summer, right? Until the summertime or even later. So the market reacted to that, right? So it is. I mean, it is still weighing heavy on the market, obviously, but we'll see. We'll see how it all kind of plays out right now. So here we are. See if we can get over these trend lines tonight. If not, we may see a down day tomorrow, which would then correspond with what we were just talking about here on the daily chart. Because here's the futures chart itself. Right, if we go here, we are below, right, the upward trend line right now. So we had an inside day here. Here's your breakout level. Right there's the bottom right there. So we'll see how those levels hold, going into next week. Right, 50 moving average is still down. We're still below the 50 moving average. Upper shadow up to that. We're still above the 21, but we're in a key area right here. Possible cloud resistance with what appears to be kind of a real tight triangle type pattern right here. Right, so we're right here. Right there. Okay, so it's getting really, really tight in here. So one way or another, this thing is going to give us some signals of which way it's going to go, which way it wants to go. So anyway, good stuff. So today we're going to we're going to finish up our discussion on gap strategies. So we're going to be talking about gap fills today. So this is a pretty cool topic, right? And it's one that can be debated, but we're not here for debate. We're just kind of going over ideas, right? We just follow price, so it is what it is. So basically, gaps get filled, right? They do. They tend to get filled. Some say like, oh, no, they don't always get filled. Well, they do, right? Anybody who trades knows they do, and you can see that they do consistently, right? Typically, I mean, it's almost like 99% of the time gaps get filled, and like the only times they don't get filled, right, is if stock goes bankrupt. Right, and if that point, that's the ultimate gap fill, right? So technically, it's it's pretty much 100% of the time. So now, could it take a long time? Sure. Could it take, as long as the market is in existence? It's possible, right? So it could take a very long time, but they make excellent targets for us, and they also provide levels of support and resistance, of potential support and resistance, right? So you can see here just on the just what we're looking at here on the On the SPY, right, we have a big gap up here, right, an open gap between the low and the high of these candles right here. So there's this big space of price after it started to move, right? So this will eventually get filled, right? We're eventually going to work our way up and get it. Now, when are we going to do it? I have no idea, right? We have another gap right here. That's eventually going to get filled, right? We have gaps down here. We have this gap and this gap down here. They're eventually going to get filled. Am I calling for these to get filled this week? No. Or next week? No, not necessarily. Right? So we just have to follow price and see what they do. But when we start to get close to them, or if we're within a distance of them, then we can really start to take notice, right? So here you can see this gap is right here, right at the top of that, yeah, right there. So look where lo and behold, look, these serve as areas of resistance, right? So we came up here, we could not get to it, right? But it did make a nice potential target, right? If things wanted to get higher, but we know it could be resistance. So why would we not go long here for a potential gap fill on that one? Because it's not confirming for us, right? So, again, it's a small gap, right? So maybe at this point, we're not ready for it. But up here, once we get up here one day, right, if we don't fill that in one day, and we close above that bullishly, right, then that makes a really good potential target, right? If we get good volume up there, we might be able to attack that in the next day or two, right? So these are excellent levels of support and resistance, and they help us navigate intraday. Okay, so they help on the intraday time frames too, right? So they tell us whether or not we're going to get faded, they give us good levels, right, to tell us whether we get faded or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the pre-market data, and the pre-market gaps, we've talked about those recently, but I'm going to kind of take these off here for a moment. Okay, I'm going to take out the extended hours, and you can kind of see something interesting, right? So a lot of times, the gaps that we see on the shorter term time frames don't necessarily represent gaps that we see on the chart, right? Because if we open in the range, so if you look right here, right, we were still within the range of the prior day's candle. So this is between the 17th and the 20th. Okay, so if we go back to the daily chart and we look at the 17th and the 20th, so let's go here. Okay, so these guys, it looks like there's no gap at all, right? When you just look at the chart, right, there's no open space between these two candles, right? You just don't see, right? You got a shadow right here, you got a shadow right here. When you open in the range, there's no gap that you see, right? This is not one that we see on the regular daily chart. But when you go to the lower term time frames, we call these the closing gaps. Okay, right? This is between the 17th. There's clearly a gap here, right? It clearly gapped down, right? Anybody who's long here, right, at the close is definitely feeling that gap down the next day, right, or the next trading day, right? So there's definitely a gap there, and you can see it right here when you take off the pre-market data. Okay, so this is good. This helps us on an intraday time frame to look for setups, right? Because these make good targets, right? So we close right here. That's where the gap really is. So there's technically an open gap on these levels too. Let me get a trendline tool up right here. Okay, so there's technically an open gap here too, but just say the closing gap, right? We like to use those because on a smaller term time frame, you're going to see that as well. Okay, so if we go even smaller on this chart, you're going to see that as an open gap. But that's where we closed, okay? So what do we do? How do we handle that? And when do we fade it? Well, we don't know when we fade it, and these gaps tend to get filled as well. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? So a lot of times, folks just trade for gap fades onto the intraday time frame, right? So we have to look for the price action that would warrant a trade to do that. Is it necessarily going to happen that day? No. We might gap and go to the downside, right? But when the price action starts getting constructive, like you can see here, right? We have nice, a bunch of green candles, and we got a hammer, then we got an inside candle right here. We enter off of this, right, with a stop down here, a little bit below there, then we can target that gap fill. Then it becomes a target, just like on the daily. So I was showing on the daily, if we get close to that gap fill, then that can become a reasonable target, right? Because price likes to test levels. It doesn't like to leave things undone, right? It doesn't like to leave gaps unfilled. And then look what happened, right? We came up to this gap right here, right? We chopped around for a little bit. Price likes to return to the scene of the breakout or the breakdown. It loves to return to the scene of the gap just to test it for a little bit to see if there was something important going on there before moving on again. It's just the nature of it, right? And so we got back up here. We had an inside 15, right? Kind of worked our way down, another one right here, and then we just, okay, it was done, right? We chopped for a little bit, right? What do we have? We had a triangle right here, right? And then we broke down the triangle. We confirmed below it with some, with some volume, and then we had a bear flag, and then we worked our way back down. I was like, okay, let's go back down here, right, and kind of move on. So very, very important stuff for the intraday stuff, and these are levels that we provide to our members too on our key stuff each market night, right? And then we go from there, right? So you can see here the next day, right? The next day, did we fill that gap here? No, we didn't, right? Did it try? Yeah, it tried a little bit. right? It gave one little shot at it that day, right? This is on the 21st. It tried to get up there. I was like, no, I can't do it. It ran out of energy, right? We had a big trend line right there too, right? This is our macro trend line, right? So we had an inside 50, worked our way back down. Sometimes it does, and then we look for trades away from it too. It's like, okay, this thing is really going, right? And that's one of the key things about gaps, is gaps can show you, can give you momentum in the direction of a trade, right? And so we break down here and we're going there, and then we gap up this day. So now we have this open gap right here, right? Even though it's not going to show on the daily chart, we still have this closing gap down here as well, right? So actually it's down here, right? So that's really where we closed. Okay, so where are we targeting now on this buy? Well, maybe, this. Maybe we're looking at this. So if tomorrow, if we end up, gapping down or pushing down, right, then this could become a very, very interesting target to fill, right? And then we might chop around for a little bit, right? So that becomes, potential support and all that stuff. It might hang out down here for a little bit. This could give some fast moves to get to those levels. So gaps are very, very important. Gap fills are very important. Make great not only intraday strategies, but also strategies on the daily chart, right? So very, very good stuff. We like to use it on all time frames, and it can be very, very helpful for your trading. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug them in the chat window. We'll get through as many as possible and try to wrap up as early as we can so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. And tomorrow is Friday, so cool. So we also have Theta expert. Weekly options are expiring tomorrow, so watch out for Theta. Right, they can give some really, really fast moves. So sometimes it helps to consider trading next week's options. So good stuff. Okay, so we have a few that came in here today. Shirley sent in a few by email. Give me 1 second here. We'll get a little grapefruit. Such an interesting upper shadow today. All right. Let's take a look. Okay, so Shirley sent in a few sets. So oil, interesting enough, a lot of positive action on some of the oil stocks today. There's some option flow on it today, some good volume today. So APA, right, trying to work its way up a little bit. I like it. Right, basically got out of this this range with some good volume. I would have liked to have seen a little bit better candle, but got out of this range right here. So let's see if it tries to work its way up, tries to get to the 50 moving average. That could be very interesting. J&J, yeah, pretty strong. Right, we've been tracking this for a little bit. Fresh high, fresh trend line on this one. So looking pretty decent right here, showing some relative strength. Right, a little bit of an upper shadow, but still holding trend. So definitely want to keep an eye on there. MTDR. Oh, there's another nice one too. Another resources type company right there with a breaking out of a really big range. That is looking very interesting right there. Matador. Cool. Yeah, so that's kind of working its way up. And look what we got right there. We got the gap fill up there. Potential. SNBR. Sleep Number. What a nice move after earnings. Nice gap up right there. Bit of a gap and go as it got over this pivot level here. Not a big high beta stock, but definitely working its way up there. Good volume right there. See if we can get some follow through up to the 50-day moving average there. And then let's take a look at WES. Okay, Western Midstream Partners. Okay, that's doing pretty good too. A lot of these just got nice little breakout candles right here. The only one about this one is we don't have much volume on it, so that's just a little bit of a concern there. And good stuff. Thanks, Shirley. I hope you're doing great, and I hope you have an awesome weekend. Scott sent this one in. So APT, Alpha Protect, the face mask company. So choppy. So we're still in this triangle range right here, right? So good volume today. Nice candle. Still hasn't got out of this range within the triangle. Let's see if we can get out of this triangle one way or another, right? So good stuff here. Let's see how that goes. If it gives us a some clue. Okay, but decent volume today, nice candle. I mean, you could get really tight on this one and say the triangle was here and it's starting to break out. But either way, let's get some confirmation on this one. See if it works its way up to the cloud on that. Good stuff. And the Nest, yeah. Lake, let's keep checking it. Okay, so here it is. Tried to break down today and just couldn't do it. Right, so it is basically still triangulating its way up right here. So let's keep an eye on it, see if it breaks out one way or the other. And then Work. Yeah, Work was interesting, right? Inside day today. So failed to break down, if we just kind of zoom in here. failed to break down out of the inside day today, came back in the range and shot up really quickly and got out of the inside day up, and then just kind of left it all to pieces here. Did it mostly in just one candle today. It was pretty impressive stuff. Inside 15 too to get out of the 15 orb, and then a big move up today, and then just kind of chopped around a little bit and left you with an upper shadow today. So didn't leave you with much hope on this one, but it did hold the 21 and it held that inside day low. So see if we can still break down below these levels. This is the key candle right here to try to break below if it wants lower. Otherwise, it's got some work to get its way up there. So this is the one that we looked at the other day. EAT. So again, this one is getting pretty tight here as well. Triangle. And then this kind of triangle-ish right here is really, really tight. So, this is just getting really tight in here. Again, it's coming up to earnings pretty soon. So, I imagine that they probably will have some bad guidance on it, but we'll see. See how it goes. Good stuff. Good. Rocky, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, JCPenney. I think they just announced some more stuff about like bankruptcy proceedings or something like that. What did they say? I think there was some news out tonight. Yeah, so seeking $1 billion in bankruptcy funding. So, it's just kind of around right there. This is a tricky one. Obviously, it's a super penny stock right now, so it makes it a little bit rough. But yeah, this thing's just been on the way down for quite a while. So, good volume today, but bad news again after hours on that one. So you see how that one plays out. ZEK, what's going on? Let's take a look. So Snap. Oh, yeah. So Snap, great candle yesterday, right? Nice breakout candle today. And then it turns out, like, even with their good earnings and good ad revenue and all that stuff, they came out today and basically said they're doing an offering, right? So trying to get some more. So that usually brings the stock down a little bit. But a few companies came out. Looks like Morgan Stanley, Rosenblatt came out and still gave it some good some thumbs up. So let's see if they try to buy the dip on that one going into tomorrow. Any action after hours? Yeah, it's just down a few cents after hours here. So definitely want to keep an eye on there. OAS. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oasis Petroleum, great breakout candle. Shirley, if you're listening still, this is one to add to the list right there. Look at that. Whew, that's a nice breakout candle right there. It's got room to go up to the 50 moving average right here at 86 cents. Then it could work its way up to the cloud. And then gold. GOLD. Yeah, the golds and everything, like the GDXs and the nuggets and all that stuff had great candles yesterday, and they had some nice follow through today. But that's where you just got to raise profits and go from there. Big upper shadow today. Let's see what it does tomorrow. See if it gives us an evening star reversal type pattern. Good stuff. Matt, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. mRNA. Yep, Moderna. Let's take a look. Oh, inside day down today. So that's what I think we talked about this last night. Lots of inside days yesterday, so just kind of have to gauge to see how it handles those levels. And this one took that inside day down today with a pretty nasty candle and some more volume. So see if it wants to work its way down to 45 here, like where the ADMA is. Good stuff. Yeah, my pleasure. Michael, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Rayan, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Epic, what's happening? Yeah. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple. So this is an interesting one too, right? Very, very similar to the rest of the market, right? It's ended up getting below its macro trend line right here. Upper shadow off the cloud. Still holding on to the ADMA, which is flattening out. So, a little bit of caution here with this upper shadow, right? Ended up closing on its lows. So getting kind of bearish here. Right, so let's see if it gets any follow through the downside on that one. The price action today was actually pretty fun. So it was really strong at the open. The market was strong this morning, right? So Apple gave a great move here out of its pre-market box levels. Nice move up, then gave an inside 15 for a 15-hour breakout, and really gave a nice move up today. We drew a channel here. We've talked about pre-market channels here before. So this nice channel working up, came all the way to the top of the channel, and then worked its way back down for the rest of the day. Kind of drifting down a little bit after hours. Of course, anything could happen in the morning. But anyway, good stuff, yeah. Bagesh, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Danny, Kroger. Yeah, so we were looking at Kroger at the close today and looking pretty good. We talked about this yesterday. I was like, if it could break out of these levels, right, with some good volume, we'd look to go into it. The only thing was, you can see I had an alert right here. I was like, the only thing with this one is if it could just close a little bit strong. That upper shadow is a little bit tough right there. So we kind of passed on this one today, but it's nice move. I just didn't like the pullback into the close, and I wanted to show some strength going into the end of the day, and it was just kind of fizzled out there. But it doesn't mean a break above today's highs, could still get could get its move on. And then GE, $6 stock. Let's see. So we got this here. Yeah. So I mean, it's basically over most of the. It's really, really in a tight range right here. Basically, you just want to see make sure it holds its lows, but really we want to see it get above these levels right here, right, to get bullish. So it's really kind of in no man's land right now with really, really choppy price action, and you know, it's tough. I mean, it's big volume, but it's not moving, right? So you know, hopefully maybe earnings will get it going again, one way or the other. Good. Hey, YouTube day. Hey, what's going on? SFIX, let's take a look here. Yeah, so SFIX, pretty interesting here. It's getting really tight as well, range bound for sure. You know, big gap above right here, but you know, here's your kind of your pivot level right there. If we grab a trend line here to the lows and go there, right there's your trend line, right? And so here's your pivot level, here's your major pivot level. So let's see if we can close bullishly above that, try to work its way up. Right now it's kind of running into some cloud type stuff and you know, kind of blah. But yeah. Let's kind of keep an eye on those levels right there. Target was a nice buy the dip opportunity today. The only problem with Target for us who trade options is like, I mean, the spreads are just, you know, really, really frustrating, and you know, it's, you know, the volume has been kind of blah. But you know, it gave a nice move at the open today. Nice little buy the dip today. You know, they came out with same store sales numbers, and you know, a lot of it was worse than expected. Some of it was better than expected. Right, they had some great digital sales, things like that. But so it got a nice boost at the open. Obviously, there was other stuff to do like Apple and things like that, but it did pretty well, you know, coming up into most of it. And then, whoa, this is awful choppy price action for the rest of the day. So, you know, just look for some follow through, see if we can get over those prior highs, and maybe we could fill that gap right there. So that would be an interesting one. And what else? What else? And then Walmart, yeah. Say go Walmart. Ugh. So it pulled back a little bit there. Yeah, so decent candle yesterday, but low volume. So we never want to get, you know, we prefer not to get into a candle with low volume. And then here we got some more volume on it. A little bit of a inverted slippery hot dog pattern, right? So, but it did hold its trend line here today. So it bounced off of that, and it's kind of right at its EMA. But just be careful, that's starting to curl over there. So we got that going on. RAND, yeah, WLL, for sure. We got a lot of these oil type names got some good moves today. Good volume on this one. This had some flow. You know, it's pretty good. Just a big upper shadow off of the cloud today, so pretty tough. You know, just kind of keep an eye on it, see if we can get over today's highs, see if we keep going again. Bagash, yeah. So they're good. So I guess you guys are on the same page. That y'all like the volume and the kind of the breakout move on it. Could be good. A lot of times we see, you know, smaller ones like this with some big volume and these upper shadows still get some nice follow through. So we could see that if you know, if oil decides to stay strong into tomorrow, right? It's up a little bit after hours. Boeing, really, really interesting stuff. It ended up closing green, but only because of the gap, really. But, you know, upper shadow today, it's starting to look really, really bearish, right? So, you know, I definitely want to see if it has like some follow-through weakness into tomorrow. This is going to be on the bearish radar for tomorrow for sure. I think I had it on the game plan for today. But let's do two of those things. I'm going to put WLL. I'm going to put that on the bullish radar for tomorrow and Friday. Okay, so we'll put that on there. And then, yeah, BA, we're going to keep that on the short radar too. And we got some earnings tonight, I believe, right? Don't we have, we had Intel tonight. They had they beat on revenue and earnings, but had bad guidance, so that was down. And I think there's a couple other ones. I think we have like AXP tomorrow, and I think Verizon, right? Okay, so we'll keep those on the 15-hour radar for tomorrow. Okay. Let me get those there. Thank you for your patience while I update that for us. Okay, good. Oh, good. You're right on it. Okay, yeah. So let's take a look. Zoom, real nice close today. Oop. Zoom inverted futures. Real nice close. Breakout candle today on Zoom for sure. Got over all these levels. Strong volume. Closed towards its highs. I mean, just looks strong, right? So again, hopefully it gets that follow through that we like to see on Zoom, right? Sometimes we've seen it kind of fizzle out a little bit right here. If you get a candle like this tomorrow, you know, that's one I'd be careful with over the weekend. But real nice candle today. See if we get that follow through tomorrow. And INTC, yeah, sure. Earnings after hours down, right? So we talked about gaps this week. So right now it's about 55. Okay, so oh gosh, just down right there, 55.50. So let's see where that puts us. So 55.50 is like right about there. So basically it's just gapping down the 200 moving average. Now, there's an open gap below, so depending where we open, right, that could get filled pretty quickly, right? So definitely keep an eye on that one. And Intel can be interesting to trade, so we'll have that on the 15-hour radar for tomorrow. Heather, good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing great. Great job today on Apple. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cloud Guy, what's going on? AYX. AYX with the upper shadow at the cloud and below the 8 EMA, but still holding its 21 EMA. So pretty interesting stuff. It looks like it's curling over a little bit of pivot right here. Last pivot kind of gave it a little bit of move down, so you got an open gap right here. Maybe a bearish close tomorrow could lead us down to that gap fill. Aaron E, what's going on? Tesla has been making a triangle every single day around morning or noontime, and then took off each day. I did put it today, but the triangle kept growing bigger until I had to cut losses. Yeah, I mean, guys, Tesla's a dangerous one to trade. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? And actually, what I love about Tesla is we got a double inside day on it today. It's just super rare setup for Tesla. So look for a breakout one way or another on that if we open inside that range. Let me actually add that to the game plan. I haven't put a double inside down here in a while, so let's see. So double inside day Tesla. Okay, so good. All right, so let's keep on that one tomorrow. Yeah, so let's just kind of look and see what you're looking at here. Yeah, so we had this triangle right here. Again, you got to be careful, right, when you draw these triangles, right? So it's, you got to look what time frame you're doing it on, right? And, if you're drawing triangles in here in the morning like this, and the range is really big like that, that's a tough one to mess with, right? You want it to make sense. I just hit my knee on like this desk here. Anyway, so you want it to make sense, right? And so, it's got to get some spaces. Remember we talked about triangles a couple weeks ago, right? We want it to get, as close to that as we can, but this is about as good as it got today, right? Now, it happened to go down with the rest of the market on that news, on the Guild news, right? So it's tough, right? I mean, this thing, the spreads are crazy, right? And, if you're going to hold it, and a lot of these, this was a tough one to trade today. Right? It gave some really nice, and Tesla is tough to trade anyway with the premiums as high as it's been here up in the 700s, right? So it's been a little bit tricky today. So I know it can be a mess, but again, the cleaner the better, right? The cleaner the better. If you had puts here, right, and you caught that move, right, to pull back all the way to back where you were is tough on Tesla, right? Especially with all these lower shadows all day, it can wear you out, right? This one just happened to be a clean one yesterday. Right, nice clean breakout right here, and it held, and then you got the follow through. Today you had that first move. If you get your stops moved here, you got to look at the levels too. You're at the pre-market low, you're at the low of the day. Good place for it to bounce. So that's one of the key things that we talk about in our group is using our levels. And if you're hitting a key level like that, right, especially the pre-market box low or the low of the day, 15 orb low, 30 orb low, low of the day, then you gotta be careful, right? Because that could be, there's people sitting down there ready to buy it. All right, so and then you got to look for other stuff. So it's really, really tricky stuff today. But in here, these type of candles, these are more like bear flag like type things, right? So, so those are kind of the things you got to look at. But anyway, Tesla's a tricky one for sure. And what else? And then it went off. So what'd you miss? I mean, that was basically it. I mean, it's all about the levels, right? You got to play the levels intraday too, right? So yesterday, we had a nice channel moving up on Tesla. Right? I mean, not so how nice it was, but we had a nice channel moving up into pre-market. Right? We've talked about channels here in the past, a couple weeks ago, with pre-market data. Right? So that led us up. And so this triangle breakout, we had a really clear level to get through. Right? So here, you had your pre-market levels in the high of the day, sort of the opposite of what we saw there. So here you could take your entry here on the triangle break, right? And it's kind of drifting its way up, and then you got your, you just got to treat that as potential stop right there, and it just blew through that really quickly. So you got the benefit of getting through a key level on that, and then it came to the channel high. That's your next level right there, and it pulled back right here. I would have taken profit right here, right? Because it got to my level, it got to my target, huge move, right? And then after that, right, you just got to let the ADMA kind of do its thing. Here, it held back to the ADMA, and it kept going, right? So today, right, here your puts right here on this triangle break, the ADMA can keep you in a trade, right? So it came back up, tested, but it didn't close above it right here and just followed that ADMA down, right? So that's kind of on a breakout move and a trending move, right? That ADMA is going to keep you in or out of it, or can. So those are the two ideas I have. Know your levels, know where you potentially take target, and if you're going to stick to a trade, it better hold that ADMA. If not, then you definitely want to get out. So that's the idea. And Michael, yeah, Tesla taketh and giveth. So funny. Samira, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, DAL. Let's take a look. Yeah, so DAL. Oh, what a choppy day today. But it had a nice move yesterday for sure. Look at that. Beautiful move yesterday. So this is what it's doing. Here's the daily chart. Right, we're kind of in this range right now, right? And basically just a kind of really compressed inside data. So it's getting really, really tight in here. right? We can almost get a triangle on this. So here's that recent low right here, yesterday's low. They can kind of extend that triangle up a little bit here. So it's getting really, really tight. I would wait for either a breakdown or breakout one way or the other, get some confirmation and some volume on it for it to start moving. E-Stuff, what's going on? Yeah, Adobe, let's take a look. Adobe. So Adobe, decent little opportunity, right? Inside day, it just couldn't take these inside days up today. There's just a lot of weakness on the upside, but it's okay. When you gauge the market and see what the market's doing, right? Everything kind of follows that, right? So again, it might be working on a little bit of a bull flag right here. So just kind of see if we break out above that and keep going. But otherwise, it's kind of this choppy zone. It's also coming over the cliff here on the cloud. Sometimes they like to drop off of those. AMT, inside day. Right, we had it on the bullish radar yesterday, so thanks for bringing that one up. It is just couldn't break above the cloud or confirm above it, but inside day could do it if it closes above it tomorrow. FSLR, First Solar, nice candle today. Still got some work to do, right? Here's your pivot level, there's your pivot high right there. I like how it's over the 50. I like how it's trying to work its way in the cloud, right? So let's see if we can confirm above these levels and try to keep going, try to get out of the cloud. That would be good. Now, yep. Now really, really choppy stuff right here. Inside day, couldn't break up and just kind of chopping around still. So again, I'd wait till it gets above these levels here for any show any strength. And then Ulta Beauty. Wow, talk about respecting the 50 moving average on that one today. Big upper shadow off of the 50, and basically just kind of closed with a gravestone doji. So it's respecting that the cloud. So this one may move with the market depending on what the market does. So just be careful of that. But yeah, kind of a triangle right here type thing going. So it's getting kind of tight in there. Let's see if we can give a breakout candle one way or the other. Yeah, my pleasure. Session, what's going on? JP Morgan. Inside day. Ooh, right at the geo line too. Right in this channel. Right, see the channel right here? Here's your channel line. So yeah, so inside day right at the channel. Breakdown, watch out. Break up, could work its way up. So they got a couple moving averages there to deal with. TTD. Oh yeah, nice move today. Big range today, right? So good candle yesterday of all the ones we looked at, right? Nice candle right here and got that great follow through today, right? Nice price action, right? And like everything else, it worked its way up and then worked its way back down today. So a little bit upper shadow right there. Just kind of see how that holds it. The upper shadow is doesn't leave us with a lot of confidence in it. RTX. Yeah, just chop slop zone right here, right? Just kind of keep an eye on that one. Right, so see if we can get some sort of breakout candle on that one. And then Zoom, yeah, Zoom again, nice close today, beautiful volume, great candle today. See if that gets that follow through to the upside. I love that candle, looks good. Team, upper shadow, inside day, back in the range, right? So just be careful here. It does look like it's pivoting. Okay, upper shadow, a lot of selling pressure in these areas here, here, and here. Right, so it's not showing bullish intent yet, but it is, trending up. Okay, so it is holding its trend. Bullish still proven otherwise. Cherry, what's going on? SPCE. Let's take a look. Still getting tight in here, right? Still tight in these triangles right here. The inside day down a little bit, but let's see if we can get a breakout candle one way or the other out of there. And then CRWD. Okay, CRWD, again, lots of upper shadows up here. Again, this thing might want to break out one of these days, kind of playing the guitar strings up there, right? A couple different key levels, right? I'd love to see it close bullishly above those, right, for it to keep going. But it's had an epic run up, and it is still holding trend. And then DPZ, Domino's. So Domino's, kind of, had its earnings, right, and kind of just dropped down off of that, right? So, kind of just a big blah move at the open right there. It tried to work its way up, and then it's just really just flush at the open. So kind of a tricky move right there. But again, it left a lower shadow here, so let's see how that holds. I mean, really crazy V pattern, right? Really crazy cut pattern going on right there. So it is still above its trend line. So bullish still proving others. It did reject its fib fan line. Today, Uber. Let's take a look. So Uber. Yeah, right at this resistance level, right? So I tried to gap above it today, and then it kind of came back in. But definitely looks like it's wanting to. It's right at the thin cloud right here. You got a nice horizontal cloud here too, right? So let's see if we can get a good candle one of these days and maybe catch an earnings run on that. Maybe their Uber Eats side of the business who've been making a lot of deliveries and stuff through this whole Corona thing is, could be a good thing for it. Jay, what's going on? You're late. You are late. Uh, it's all good, man. LVGO, the Nest. Yeah, great candle today. Real nice move. And we closed at 4109. Yeah, so we closed above this level too. I like the volume. I like it. A little bit of upper shadow right there, but it's definitely holding trend. This thing's very strong. So good job. I know you've been watching that one. Good job on that one. And how did Nugget go from 10 to 70? Yeah, this is I think this is rebalancing. They do these things every now and again. I think Nugget did it. What was the other one? Didn't JNug do it recently? Yeah, like JNug did it today too. I think they kind of rebalance it. Funky stuff. It's like a split, like they split it or something like that. Yeah, reverse splits of ETFs, of stuff like that. So, yeah, did a reverse split. So, funky, huh? Zoom, yeah, just a super candle on Zoom today, right? Big volume, big breakout candle. Just looks super strong. What else can you say? Amazing. Oh, T-Docs. Where's the X even come in there? Oh, it's right next to it. Yeah, T-Doc pretty good right here. It hit the highs. It kind of rejected a little bit. So, again, just see if we can close bullishly above that. But it definitely is performing well of all those names. Piton's been struggling a little bit. Right, so nice upper shadow right here. And, again, that's what we look at, right? So just like this right here, we had a nice strong candle. This is your breakout candle right here, right? And then you got up here, and you got a little bit of follow through the upside. But those upper shadows, you got to respect them, right? Because we pulled back already off of that. So so just be careful. If we don't consolidate in the upper end of that range, we could really start to see, especially a breakdown of the prior day's low, can start to see some follow through the downside. Inside day down today on Piton. Okay, and then Cherry, yeah, NVAX. Let's take a look. Whoa, triple inside day. Nice find on that one. Wow. Yeah, it's a triple inside day on this one. So see which way that one breaks out. Keith, yeah, CMG and P. Thanks for tuning in. CMG. Yeah, tried to move a little bit today. It gapped up a little bit and came back in. Now it's kind of retesting the fib fan lines to see how that holds for us. And then P. Yeah, Pandora. I'm not even sure what's going on with this thing. I haven't seen this thing traded in a while, but that could be an interesting one if we can find it. Facebook, yeah, decent move today. Decreased volume. It gapped up a little bit. Kind of left. I was hoping it'd have a little bit of a stronger candle today. It had some relative strength intraday. Right when everything was going down, it was slowly moving up. It did move up better. Right, so that was nice, and then just kind of fizzled out at the end of the day. So it's down a little bit here after hours. Just kind of bluffed this. It might be a reversal spinning top type thing. So, and premiums are starting to get up there a little bit with earnings coming up too. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, YouTube Day, what's going on? What is the best way to trade broad spreads intraday? Like pay the ask price, mid price, wait to get the bid level. Well, for me, don't. I don't trade them. It's not worth it. It's for me, like the risk reward just often isn't there, right? Depending on what kind of size you put on. And you can trade it. Zoom, like for instance, gets like pretty big spreads. Just depending on what's big for you, right? But Zoom, sometimes you get a 50-cent spread on that one. So yeah, so if you can grab an option at the midpoint level, you definitely don't want to mark it in on a big spread stock, because then you're stuck, right? Because if it just ticks down one thing, you're down like 50 cents on it, right? So if you can catch a price on it, like on a pullback, or an inside bar or something like that, if you can catch a midpoint price, right, that's usually where you want it. If you're going to play the big spreads, but if they're really big spreads, it's not even worth it a lot of the times, especially with the volatility. Cool one. What's going on? Yeah, AXP. Yeah, let's take a look. So AXP, guys, speaking of spreads, AXP's been really tough to trade with its spreads recently. So it's kind of hanging out at 82 right now. The market maker expected move on this thing is $4.50. Okay, so $4.50 on this one is the expected move. So figure $5. Okay, so $5 up, $5 down. So 87, right up there, and $5 down, right? So 77, right? Where is it? There. Okay, so that's kind of where that's the market maker expected move on this one. So if it gaps up to this level, right? which would be hard to believe. But if it did, right, we might expect a reversal on it, right, because it's heading into a lot of selling pressure. If it gapped down to this level, now we're talking about some of our strategies we talked about. So we got this open gap right here that might get targeted. So it might come back down to that level there, that 84.25. 76.5. So that's a potential target on that. If it goes more than that, right, then of course you have the low of this one right here, which is around like 72-ish, and then of course you got that 67 low right there as potential support. So it should be interesting. Yeah, my pleasure. The Nest, Netflix, bullish. Yeah, it's kind of hanging in there. Watch that upper shadow, right? So it is. It's bullish to prove it. We're still holding our trend line right here, but it doesn't mean it won't pull back, 20 points to test it, right? So we just got to be careful right there. But big upper shadows, just kind of see what it's doing. It is working on a bit of a bull flag, right? So kind of see how that handles that. Again, so let's see if we can kind of break out of these levels right here, for maybe some more upside on it. Good. Thomas, what's going on? Long time no see. FYI, the last time Tesla did a double inside day was 10/23. That's right. I remember we talked about it too. I know, amazing, right? Double inside day before earnings. So this is epic on a Friday too, with Friday expiration. So that should be a fun one to keep an eye on. Good. So Keith, what's going on? Yeah, thanks for sharing, Thomas, too. Appreciate that. Keith, yeah, had a computer issue. Okay, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, so CMG. Yep, so CMG again, nice little move up today. It's holding its fib fan level right there. DPZ, pulled back off of earnings today, but it is holding its 80 MA and the trend line. And Chewy, inside day, right? Inside day right there. So definitely working on a bit of a triangle pattern here that's starting to expand. There, right? So see what it does here. See if it breaks the inside day up. If we get a nice close above these levels here, Chewy might work its way back, back to the highs. If it breaks down, well, it's got a couple levels below that it could deal with. So, it's good stuff. So yeah, so if you look at Dry and Din, they broke out. So thinking Eat will too. I gotcha. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, so they're starting to move here a little bit. Yeah, off of earnings, so that's good. Amazing. However it did that, and then Din, yeah, nice little breakout there. 2-ish, yeah, so a little bit of a move off of those, but good earnings off of the DR, good earnings move off Dry, so definitely triangulating here, getting real tight on Din. Good thinking. Cool one, yeah, Microsoft. Let's take a look. Yeah, a little bit of a hot dog pattern right here, reversal. It is still holding this pivot level here, right, as potential support, so see if that could continue to hold below that, might see some more downside. And then, good. And Thomas, yeah, Nugget, yeah, reverse split. Zenful, what's going on? Thoughts on X, US Steel? Let's take a look. X marks the spot, right? Well, let's see if we can get over this pivot level right here. So here's that macro trend line on X. There, right? Here's your first breakout layer. There's your pivot, right? So it's got to close above that. Getting pretty close to earnings right here, so it could be interesting. Good. You today, do you believe typically Friday's price action usually follows Max Pain theory? Yeah, I guess it depends what side of the trade you're on, right? But Friday, it just, all it is, if you're trading options, right, there's two things that happen, right? So you get option expiration, so the market makers like to pin it where they, where both sides of the trade can get pinned. But price is still going to do what price is going to do. Market makers can't control everything. So the only thing is that if you have low theta, oftentimes it's safer to be in the money on a trade, right? Because you actually have some intrinsic value on your options, right? But then you have no theta, so those momentum moves end up being a lot bigger, right? So that could be good. But if it's too fast and it's too big, and you're having trouble with it, just look to trade next week's options as long as they're really liquid, right? And then you can at least get some intraday profit. So anyway, good stuff, guys. Wow. Well, good. Well, great chart quest tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been a fun discussion on gaps this week, so I appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you again for the questions and chart requests. Also, if you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube. And whether you're new here or not, please click the like button. We always appreciate that. And then be sure to check out the links in the description as well. So I hope everybody has a wonderful night and a great trading day tomorrow. Keep an eye on that Tesla, that double inside day. I'm looking forward to talking about that on Sunday night. And we'll see you guys then. So I hope everybody has a great one and a great trading day tomorrow, and stay safe out there and healthy, and remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll